morning and welcome to Fox Valley Today. I'm your host, Anne Vickery. Joining me this morning from First Senior Services, Karilyn Clevenger, who is the Girl Friday. Anybody who's worked with Yorkville, the Yorkville Senior Services, I should say out of Yorkville, knows Karilyn and for all the good work she does and provides all the important, especially Medicare information to our senior population year after year. You've been over there how many years, Karilyn? 10 or 12 years?
Going on 10.
10 years,
Yeah.
That's a good thing. And a special guest this morning, Louise Maritato, who is the nutritional director over at, works out of the Beecher Center for the Community Nutritional Network, as otherwise kind of talked about as CNN,
Yes.
but not as the cable news network.
No.
Right?
No.
You've been with CNN, the Community Nutritional Network, for how long?
11 years now.
11 years. So you've done a lot. You've seen it
Yes.
the programs. You know, you've had again. It's been the ups and downs with the CNN, right? I mean, you know, there's been. I can remember when I was on the county board. There were times that you guys, because you have originally when CNN came in, you took over from where the Salvation Army left off, right?
Yes.
Now, and so now I didn't want to, confuse you listeners and viewers out there, but CNN provides the Meals on Wheels.
For all of Kendall County.
That's right. So
Yes.
tell us a little bit about the program Meals on Wheels. I have a feeling that 95% of everybody knows what it is, but you know what? There's that 5% out there that might say, what?
Right.
Maybe that could help somebody in their family or in their neighborhood.
Right. Well, it's a program that delivers a hot, nutritious meal daily to seniors that require it or would need the help in getting meals there. And we deliver Monday through Friday between 11 and 1. And then those that would need weekend meals, we'll send 2 frozen meals for the weekends that they can just warm up. It's a frozen meal and hot frozen meal, and then we make up cold packs daily that go along with the meals.
And the cold pack might include a sandwich or a salad or what?
It complements the hot meal, so it's actually a salad. It has to be some kind of a salad, piece of fruit every day, milk and juice, and then if we want to add a dessert, it's at our discretion, but we do. We always put a little cookie or something special in there, or maybe something that the grade schools made for us. We have a lot of that. They'll make pictures and stuff, and we'll add them into their cold packs.
Just something a little cute or something special to kind of enhance that meal.
Right.
You know, about how many seniors or, I should say citizens, because everybody isn't a senior. You could be disabled, right?
Right.
Or infirm for some reason that would say, I really need help with this. About how many people are you serving in the county right now?
Right now, there's between 80 and 90 people getting the meals, but not every day because some will get them just once a week. They'll get a hot meal on every Monday, and then we'll send along 4 frozen with 4 cold packs that we made up for those that can't be there every day, either doctor's appointments or dialysis or something that keeps them.
So they know that when they come home from their doctor's appointment, dialysis, or maybe they've had to be in daycare for a little reason, for whatever, something's going to be there for them.
Correct.
Right.
Yes.
That's great. Now, most people have to have some kind of living quarters that affords them freezer space or refrigeration space that could handle all that, right?
Right. They have to be able to store that.
The other thing I wanted to ask you, Louise, is we have, we have a senior living area in Yorkville. We have a larger one that has come in Oswego, right?
The Diamond buildings, yes.
Right, and there are more that are going to be provided, right? I mean, this Anthony place is a place that's now for 55 and older, but I think maybe that's not for people who are infirmed in any way. I think those are more, really? Okay.
Diamond senior buildings in Oswego, they're also independent living.
Right.
But there are people that are amputees. There are people that they are ambulatory and able to get around on their own, but they don't leave the house. And that's probably the biggest component of Meals on Wheels, is that these people, that daily delivery of the meal might be the only well-being check they get. That might be the only smile they get every day. We have a lot of huggers that are drivers that are, I say are, but they're her drivers.
Right.
Yes.
The volunteers are wonderful. You know, they go out and they hug on the clients. They love on them. They pray for them. They give them encouragement. It's just a wonderful program. There's nothing negative about getting a Meals on Wheels delivery.
Now, I want to back up a little bit. Where does the funding come from to provide the meals, the food, the help, whatever it is it takes to keep this program going? Where does that funding come from?
Well, we have the funding from the Fed. We've got that
From the
grant.
federal government.
Yes, we have that. The seniors, we asked if they can afford a little portion, $3 a meal or so, whatever they could afford. They'll pay something. If they can't, they absolutely get a meal anyways,
Right.
because some have lots of medication bills or something and
Oh,
can't
yeah,
pay.
yeah. You know, it's amazing how little some people have to live on.
That's correct.
And there was just an article in the New York Times over the weekend about how sometimes, for whatever reason, people just did not maybe do a good job of planning, or maybe there things in their lives happened that they just could not save, or their savings were
Right.
taken. Sometimes they had things that just came up, sometimes by fraud, sometimes
Yes.
by just bad luck, you know.
Right.
But anyway, tell me a little bit about yourself, Louise. Why do you enjoy working with this program?
Well, actually, I first started there. I was working at the bank for like 18 years, and then I saw this little ad that said, looking for a food prep, and I thought, I'm going to go part-time now. I'm getting up in years, not up in years, but
I guess I wouldn't call you up in years.
no, but I mean, yes. So I thought, I'm going to quit the banking now, retire from banking, and I'm going to go do this little job for 4 hours a day right down the road. So I did that for about a month and a half, and they ended up firing the manager they had hired. And because I was the manager at the bank and stuff, they saw my credentials, so they asked me, would you like to be the manager? And I said, all right, I can do that, maybe 5-6 hours a day. Then it went to 7, then it went to 8. But
Right.
anyways, now I just love it because I love talking with the seniors. The staff is great. We're in the same building as senior services, so we're all right there. If anything should go wrong, we can always help.
We're really
So,
coworkers, even though we
yes.
don't work for the same company.
We are really. So it's rewarding.
I
That's
want
what
to
I love
ask a
about
question
it.
when you talk about working side by side. How many people actually work in that building, in the senior services building, full and part-time?
6, I'm counting out loud, 8.
We have 4.
We've got 10 to 14, depending on, we've got some people that float between Aurora and Yorkville, so they might do 2 days in Yorkville, 3 days in Aurora, or vice versa.
Right.
Including supervisors and Betty Shaneholtz, who's our executive director, who's managing, umpteen offices, or not umpteen, I'm exaggerating. It seems like that, but she's
Several,
always bouncing around from, seminars and things like that, and going to Springfield and fighting for the funding that we so desperately need. Mickey Miller, who's our assistant executive director, she's also all over the place, and she's like Stretch Armstrong. She's pulled in a million directions. Anna Mejia and Nicole Bander are the 2 CCU supervisors for Southern Kane and Kendall, so they float everywhere. They're wherever they're needed. Between those people that kind of move all over, 10 to 14.
Yeah, that's a
Yeah.
pretty good-sized group.
And then they've got 4,
We
so
have
18.
4.
Yeah, that's a pretty good-sized group over there. Now, Louise, let's go back to the Meals on Wheels a little bit. How do people sign up to become eligible, or is there an eligibility requirement to get?
There is. The requirement is 60 years or older, but if there's somebody with disability, we can always find a spot on to help and serve them. But the way they can go about signing up is mostly they'll call me at Meals on Wheels and they'll ask me how they can sign up for the Meals on Wheels program. So I'll explain the program to them, but in order to sign up for the program, they have to go through senior services first. They're the ones that go out, do the assessment of the senior, and see if there's any other little things that they would need. And then after senior services goes out there, they'll then give me the paperwork and I'll take it over from there.
Okay. Is there, Carolyn, you probably know more about this. Is there a income requirement?
There's no income requirement. It's one of the best part of the program is there's no, well, you make too much money or you're not eligible because you are wealthy. There is a suggested donation for each meal of $3.75. If they can pay that, we encourage that because that subsidizes the funding that Meals on Wheels gets for the program. If they can't pay that, like she said, they never turn them away. But we don't ever, I mean, if a client's making $50,000 a year, we want them to have access to nutritional food and that well-being check. And
Right.
when we have a daughter, say, that will call us and say, you know, my dad's home alone all day, I work in Hinsdale, he doesn't eat, he's not eating because it's a pain in the neck to prepare something, or, you know, he might eat crackers and cheese all day. Well, it's not nutritional.
I think what you're saying there is probably one of the more important things. I noticed that when my mother was, of course, and this has been many years ago, but she was a recipient of Meals on Wheels because she lived in a senior housing area. But she just got to that point where she just didn't have any desire to get up and cook something. And
It's tough to cook for one person.
yeah, right. And it requires, if you're going to cook, it requires you got to do grocery shopping. You got to have everything in the house. So we found out that she would spend a lot of time eating cookies,
Cereal.
cheese
Cheese and crackers is a favorite amongst guys.
eggs, you know, just a lot of
Yes,
stuff that
eggs.
would be high in fat, high in sugars, and she was a diabetic.
Oh,
Yeah.
yes.
So then she was always screwing around with her insulin because she realized, well, I didn't eat the right thing, but because I didn't really feel up to doing it. So we used that program until then finally we got her a caregiver. But yeah, and I can see where that comes in too.
And when we go in to do an assessment, many times they call for Meals on Wheels, but we find that they need the emergency home response or the help I've fallen and I can't get up button. Or they can benefit from a homemaker a couple of days a week because they're having trouble keeping up with their ADLs, like vacuuming or grocery shopping or getting to the pharmacy. There's many things that just from getting in the house and being able to do that initial assessment because they wanted Meals on Wheels, we're able to find 10 other things they can benefit from. Well, I'm not picking up my medicine because my medicine's gotten so expensive
Right.
and I'm in the donut hole, but they're eligible for the federal extra help program. We get them on the program, their medicines dropped to $3.30 a piece. So, you know, their insulin that was once $1,000 is now $3.30.
Right.
And then they're not in the donut hole. So
Right.
there's so many things that just that one gateway to getting in the door and doing the assessment opens the doors to so many other things that they might get a homemaker 3 days a week that comes and is able to do things in the house, but they're still getting their home delivered meal because that provides that nutritious meal, and then the homemaker can prep something for a dinner or something,
Right.
you know, oats for breakfast, or we have one homemaker that is a client's homemaker that the client said to me that she was trying Pinterest recipes out on her, like the egg bakes, and then she'd package them and put them in the
Right.
freezer or fridge for her so she could pull them out and microwave them, and then she was having, you know, eggs with spinach and healthy things in
Things
the
that
eggs
were
that she could microwave, and she
very
had a
good.
meal
Right.
for when the home delivered meals weren't there. So the programs themselves literally save our clients' lives.
Yeah,
Not
and-
only that, but that we were talking before the program about the well-being check and the client that was found not too long ago in the tub. She'd had a stroke.
Mini
She didn't
stroke,
answer the
yes.
door.
And just by the virtue of the fact that the Meals on Wheels deliverer went to the door, she didn't answer, no one
And
came.
they know their client.
Yeah, and you know, I think the other thing that you were talking about as we were off camera is that you have regular drivers. In other words, the people who are delivering these meals are the same people that come every day.
Every week.
Every week.
It's always Sam on Monday, Sally on Tuesday. Yes.
Okay. So
they
they get
them.
to know their clients. And the other thing I wanted to back up and say, now in some cases you said, let's just say I needed to have meals for my sister-in-law. We'll just make up somebody.
Okay.
And I said, okay, but she was going to be home every day. Could that person still say, you know what, I would just as soon if you would just deliver all my meals on Monday?
They can say that, yes, because sometimes it's hard for them to get to the door, or they're up at night and they're sleeping later in the day. So
Right.
we'll bend pretty much to do almost anything for them, what
Okay.
works.
They
Yes.
just can't leave them. They can't like leave them outside.
On the step.
Yeah.
Oh, no, sometimes they'll leave a note. Please leave it in the door because I went to the doctor, but no,
You
we
don't do
can't.
that.
Oh,
Then
no.
what
And it's
happens?
just food safety issues.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's, that's per the health department.
Right. So what happens then? What if that person isn't home and you've got 5 meals to deliver? What do you do?
Well, first the driver calls me, and then I start trying to get a hold of them, and then I'll get a hold of senior services to track down their family members.
Right.
But the driver is told to go ahead. Well, the driver can bring it right back to the center to me. But if they're in the Oswego area, we have a drop-off there. We drop the meals off at the church and meet the drivers there to save them the trip into Yorkville.
Back in, yeah.
And that same drop-off person will be there to pick the delivery bags up, so they'll bring the food back to me.
Yeah, I see. I get how that works. Okay, we got to take a little bit of a break. We'll be right back with Louise and Karilyn from Senior Services and from CNN. This is a community nutritional network, better known as Meals on Wheels. We'll be right back.
So, I just moved in with this family, and it's embarrassing. The little one, he likes to go outside and crawl around in the giant litter box. I don't know what he's doing. I mean, I was born and I knew how to use the litter box. Look at that. That's disgusting. Oh, poop already. You're making me nervous. Oh, okay, I can't look at this anymore. I really hope he grows out of this, for his sake.
Maybe I have with that?
Oh, thank you. Did you see anyone's broccoli?
You moved this?
Thanks for helping us.
No problem.
Is this strawberries? You're welcome.
We'd do anything for kids. Yet 1 in 6 children in the U.S. struggle with hunger. Help end childhood hunger near you. Learn how at feedingamerica.org.
Your son wants to get a cat,
I'll really take care of it.
but you're allergic. Do you A, prepare yourself, B, make the best of it,
C squared equals
25.
or C, find a loophole? When it comes to parenting, there are no perfect answers, but that's okay, because you don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Teens in foster care will love you just the same.
Welcome back to Fox Valley Today. We're here with both Louise and Karilyn. Louise is the Community Nutritional Network Director over at the Yorkville Senior Center, and Karilyn Clevenger, the Girl Friday. If you need something, you see Karilyn over there because she's the gal who's going to either set you straight or get you straight. So anyway, let's talk. We were talking about these Meals on Wheels, and I think it's interesting. People might want to know, what kind of food is it? I mean, what are some of the more popular things that you fix?
That they like the best. They really like the chicken parmesan. That's one they like. They like the Dixie Crunch fish.
Mm-hmm.
They like the macaroni and cheese, of course. They like that. All has to be served with a vegetable, and it's usually 2 vegetables unless they're serving a potato there. There's another dish that's a steak fingers. They really like that one. and oven fried chicken, to name a few. That's
So
what
this
they like.
menu is constantly revolving, you know, and where are these meals actually made?
They're coming from Fox Valley Foods in, I think it's out in like Louisiana area there. And actually, we get all of our side food from Gordon's Foods.
Okay.
So they'll bring in the foods up to Gordon's Foods, who will house them in their big, huge
Better known as
freezers.
GFS.
Yes. And they'll house them in their freezers for us. And so when we put our order in for Gordon's Food, we also put an order in for how many food we want from Valley West.
Right.
And then they bring it all to us once a week.
So Karilyn, every once in a while they throw something out at you to say, why don't you test this, see how this goes?
Every once in a while, they'll have something new.
Or a cancellation.
Or a cancellation. And if they've got somebody that cancels, then they've got, you know, a couple of hot meals sitting there, and they'll come over and be like, so did you guys eat lunch? And very rarely do we get
tester?
up from our desk and leave for lunch. I mean, if anything, you'll catch us eating something that Lois Kunachek or Karen Harris made in the deli. We eat the lunch that they prepare a lot. So, I mean, if we'll eat it, you know it's got to be good. Lois and Karen are...
They're pretty good
they're
at it.
amazing.
They got it
Yes.
down
Yeah.
to a science.
They do.
don't
They really do. But every once in a while, they'll bring us over something to try. I know one time I know not too long ago anyway, I was served tacos. You guys had tacos?
Yes.
And it was Nellie, one of the people that work with Louise. Nellie and Dorothy are her right and left hand. They're her three amigos. And Nellie had come over, we've got extra tacos. You want tacos? And I was the only one in the back, and I'm like, I didn't eat lunch today, so let's try the tacos.
What do you think about getting Karen and Lois on this program sometime?
I was just going to say that.
I think, you know, that Lois, she's a chatterer. And Karen, I haven't talked to her for several years, but she's got everybody knows Karen.
Yeah.
Well, and we are mixing it up with our programming, with bringing new people from, because we're trying to show the listeners and watchers that Meals on Wheels is more than just, or Meals on Wheels, I'm sorry, Senior Services is more than just me providing Medicare and
Gina providing entertainment.
yeah,
Right.
we've got so many facets, like
That's right.
Community Nutrition Network and our lunch program, and we've got Barb Nadeau and Anna Manessis coming from our volunteer programs
Right.
in April. In March, they're going to be talking about the referendum for Aurora.
For Aurora Township, yes.
So there's so many facets to us and how much we do in the community. It's really an honor to work there because we do make a difference every day. There's something.
You know, I forget who I had on the program the other day, and we were talking about the population in the county as it continues, the age group, average age continues to climb.
Yes.
Even though we
The
have
percentage
areas,
of seniors in Kendall County is growing daily.
yeah, and the other part of that is we also have areas in the county, and that goes by the fire districts. My son, being a paramedic fireman for Oswego, was over on the Simons Road fire station, and kind of get what I'm trying to tell you here is a young population in big homes and
Mom and Dad are
active
moving in.
schools, right? So no, that's not what I meant to say. Very few calls there for seniors because it's a young population. And then you take parts of Oswego, older Oswego, downtown Oswego, that area, a heavy senior population in the older part of Oswego.
We do outreach once a year, and we'll get a listing of seniors in the community from the assessor and from the county. And for the longest time, for instance, Lakewood in Plano was younger couples when they first bought. We're seeing a huge increase. There's a senior in every other house now, and it's because as mom and dad are aging, they're moving in with their daughter and son-in-law or vice versa to help take care of grandkids, or they've lost a spouse and they're not making it on their own, so they move in to pay rent and live in a spare bed, live in one of the spare bedrooms and help pay the bills. And families, my parents have sold their house and moved in with my grandparents to help them take care of their home and take care of them as seniors. So we're seeing that a lot more. It's it's on the rise.
And that was a part of this area, especially when it was more rural, where you see some of these big farm homes that are still standing today. There aren't that many of them left, But that was because extended family members stayed.
Yes.
Sometimes there was 3 generations living in some of these homes.
And then there was a decrease, and now it's
Right.
back right on the
And
rise again.
And it's coming
so.
back. And now more it's about economics than years ago, 175 or 100 years ago, where it was more about, that was part of our culture, was to help take care of the parents and the grandparents as they aged and wanted to stay on the farm. So, so you guys do a lot of good work over there. And Louise, it's absolutely thrilling to see that you enjoy it so much and that you care so much. And this was something, as a banker, you were customer service orientated, and it was just kind of a carry over into that.
It
right?
was, yes.
And I didn't know that about you. I was
Oh,
with
you
Old
didn't know
Second for
that?
7 years. So
Yeah.
that's funny. We're both retired bankers.
Right.
I was with Old Second for 7 years.
Well,
and
at least
this
you
is
didn't
just,
do any time for banking.
No,
you
we
know.
didn't.
But honestly, this is so much more rewarding.
It is very rewarding.
Nonprofit industry, the pay is definitely not what is keeping us driven. It's our clients and what we do. I don't get up in the morning and not want to go to work.
Yeah, but I think the thing I was trying to weave through was you came from a background that customer service is what drove the success of your jobs. I mean,
Yes.
banking is about doing a good job. It's, we can talk about evil bankers, but people bank
No,
it.
it's
people
doing a
with
good
low-
job.
Yeah, right.
Steady
People-
customers,
right.
yes.
You got to know them. You got to understand it, since you were always involved in some of their problems. If they had a problem banking or didn't quite know how to do something, that's what you were there for. It was a good rollover to go into, again, this kind of business.
Yes, it was. Very rewarding.
And as you work through this, now, are you in need of drivers now?
We can always use drivers, but yes, we could use a few drivers for the Oswego areas. And Plano has really grown. It's gone from like 10 a day to, I think, yesterday I stopped in my tracks, it was like 19.
Really?
Yes, for just Plano.
Uh-huh.
So,
Yeah.
yeah, so we can always use drivers, so they can always call Community Nutrition Network, and
And what would that number be there?
that would be 630-553-2316, and it'll go directly to me.
Okay.
So,
And so when somebody signs up to be a driver, what do you do a background check on them?
yes, we do.
Okay.
Everybody gets a full background check.
So you're looking for any criminal behavior, any felonious behavior, of course, driving record.
Yes, all for the safety of the seniors. Yes, we do.
Who does your background checks?
Well, actually, it's someone through downtown. I don't know exactly, because when they fill out their volunteer sheets, they have to go ahead and put that down, their Social Security and stuff, and sign it that we can do a background check. And then I go ahead and fax it to my downtown office. They do it down there.
As you say, downtown is in Chicago?
Berwyn. It wasn't
Berwyn,
Chicago. I
okay.
still say downtown.
Okay.
They've switched to Berwyn like a year
Yeah,
ago.
okay.
And then we have somebody that specifically takes
Does
care of
that,
all
right,
of that.
Right, and that, a lot of that stuff can be run pretty easy anymore. I use a similar service for some rental property I have, but I think it's a good thing to do. I mean, anybody can flip over and go to the dark side anytime, but you probably get to know these drivers pretty well, don't you?
I have some that are there when I started there.
Yeah.
When we first started, 10, 11 years.
Yeah.
Yes, we know all the drivers.
Uh-huh.
They all fill out their worksheets and stuff, and then they have a little bitty test, not test, but little bitty quizzes to go through. They read how not to leave meals, how if they would find a senior in disarray or whatever, and they go through a little study like that. And so they go through a little course.
Okay, I guess we're kind of running over time here, so I want to thank everybody. I want to thank Louise and Karilyn for coming over from Senior Services, Community Network, Nutritional Network, and from Senior Services, giving us more information on Meals on Wheels. Don't forget to give them a call if you can use them. They'd love to hear from you. Thanks for joining Fox Valley today.